We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating. From the plantation, we built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating. From the plantation, we built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating. From the plantation, we built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating. From the plantation, we built the whole nation.
Welcome back to the realest podcast on YouTube, Channel Raw TV. And on today's episode, we have a classic Twitter space where the foundational family discusses reparations and whether or not non-FBA should be allowed to be included in the discussion for reparations. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit up the Cash App at Mr. App C.
I'm just sending out invites right now. I kind of didn't want to open quite yet, but I already did. I wasn't in that last space too too long.
Re-ups, I may be going in for a minute, but definitely coming to Punch Bowl tomorrow morning. They start at 8 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. We'll do. I don't think I'm
It was
too
a
familiar with the
very,
punch bowl.
it was a very weird. It was a weird space for them today.
What was going on? I didn't catch it into the towards the end.
Yeah, they usually end promptly at 11 a.m. and that's probably why you weren't brought up. It was. I can guarantee you that no one was
I
avoiding it.
I didn't request because
Okay, because Elder DM'd me and said have them bring re-ups up, and if usually they'll try to keep a space open here or there, and I kind of have a open invitation to them to always drop me. I have an Android phone; I can't drop myself, so if there's no space and someone's requesting, they'll usually just look at the profile, make sure you're not a troll, and let you up.
Okay, yeah, I don't. Me and Margot follow each other, but I wasn't. Yeah, I hadn't. I didn't request. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't in the space.
How you know who a troll and who not a troll, Mike? But you being this motherfucker talking to all of us.
He was talking about the co-host and host of the last space. They'll deem who's a troll or not by just going through their profile. I do the same to people
Yeah,
too. I look
they're
at.
pretty much they're a huge First Amendment absolutionists, so to speak. So they're going to let anybody talk that doesn't have, maybe certain things that they're trying to avoid, or accounts that are like a day old, and things like that. They're Shell, Margot, these are all good people that are. Bishop, who started the Punch Bowl, is always, I guess I had missed the beginning of the space, but I guess that crazy QAnon shaman, the guy with the fucking horns, was in there, and Bishop lost his cool, and that's rare when Bishop loses his cool with anybody. I've been going in and out of that space for over a year and a half, almost 2, 3, 4 days a week, and he's never lost his cool with anybody that didn't deserve it.
Yeah, Mr. Chansley is a bit out there. Ansley, Jacob Ansley, I think it is. Yeah, he's a different one. I think Nicole's the troll.
Yeah, Jake is a grifter.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike. I
That's
was just
right.
joking.
Jake is a bit of a grifter, in my opinion, and has basically forsaken all the other January 6 people that he supposedly is deriving his notoriety from.
Was he the goofball that had the fur outfit and the horns and
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. The QAnon shaman, the guy's now running for Congress.
stop it.
Nope.
No, he
Yep.
is, and then he holds spaces, and honestly, I've been in a few of them, and he's in spaces talking, and talk about somebody who talks out of their ass. This guy is like an expert on everything, and he tries to school the room on absolute nonsense. And I got no respect for that. If you don't know what you're talking about, you ask questions. You don't make statements.
So I brought it up a couple times on this platform. I know I think we were in a big room with re-ups and some knuckleheads, sovereign citizen people.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
remember that? Yeah. And I brought up this. So Lewis Black. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Lewis Black,
Mm-hmm.
comedian. Years ago, he did a bit, and he talked about the issue with the trend in social media and everyone having a voice, right? And it really was. It came down to the reality that on one side of the table you have somebody that's actually an expert in their field. On the other side of the table you have somebody that isn't, but they're given an equal platform, right? And now everybody's credible, so nobody's credible. Who do you believe? Right? Because the expert is no longer the expert when people are given equal platform with others that know absolutely nothing.
I think that's the problem.
You believe that they come with the proof.
That's it. Like
If they have proof to back up their, their beliefs or whatever like that, that's what it's going to be.
That's exactly right. Oh, that's the problem, though, right?
That's what it's not about.
So, like, how do you suss that out, right?
They have something to back it up, like people put stuff in the journal. They have things they back up, what they talking about. They are expected to be educated and all that.
I need credit sources. I'm sorry. I need credit sources. It's too much information. I have to disseminate it.
But well, plan is just long as they can back it up. That's what I'm saying.
Nicole,
Yeah.
I agree with you, Nicole. I think one of the problems is I've seen that the receipt thing. I've seen people do that with stuff that they publish or other
Well, we have to say credit, you know, out. Sources. Right? Because if everybody was left, I mean, like you say, well, about what you, how would you distinguish? You try to say it's not a way to distinguish?
Oh, I'm saying it's absolutely difficult on a platform like this. You know what I mean?
I don't believe, you know what, sometimes I don't believe people that's educated people. They don't believe it's interesting enough shit. In some cases, right?
I mean, even on this platform, I think we've seen people that I've seen MDs and people with high degrees of education that are saying absolutely awful stuff that has no basis in reality, right? So it is.
Hey, baby, you know that. Hurry up.
I'm doing it. It's a nice day.
It
I'm
is.
just jumping on. I was just jumping on because I hear a lot of what's scaring me. I tell you my reservations when I'm in these spaces speaking with Republicans. Like I don't want us to get lost in the fray again. And I hear some people are smart enough to catch it, right? When I'm hearing some people speak, but um, when we're speaking to a lot of conservatives, right, is America first. It's a problem now. We'll worry about that later, if at all. And that's what I'm worried about, the if at all. Like, so what if we do side up with y'all, right? And we do solve this immigration problem, right? What's to keep that same party from doing what the Democrats are doing, right? I don't want to get lost up in the weeds of that again. Um, that's my reservation.
Because you know something, our whole message changed to help America. I was just reparations.
Well, it's just
Not all of
the
a sudden
whole
it's like
America.
we
It's the
gotta
whole America.
save America.
Well.
I'm not fucking trying to
It's
save motherfucking America.
no. It's a certain way you want to frame it, right? Either we can come and make some
Fuck,
sort
all
of
they gonna give us our
agreement.
fucking
Hold
money.
on. If you either we can come and make some agreement, or we could just watch it descend into chaos, right? Um, to me, with the Democrat Party, you make them move, right? But I'm just not gonna join the other party, just because I'm leaving that party, right? I still, we need to do business, to reach a common goal, right? And that's to save America, right? Or that American first, but I still have my reservations about it.
I
What's
say
up, Iron Mike?
I said save America and give us reparations. You know, y'all serious about, saving America and we, us voting properly. Well then let's, start y'all should start saying, you know what, damn right give them black folk reparations. Nobody said that shit. They just keep on saying it. America. Let's save America. You know the whole fucking
Well,
I'm
I'm
not
just
going
seeing, listen, I'm seeing the hundreds of millions and the budgets and the 136 billion collectively on illegal immigration we spend yearly, which is only 89, but after you add it all up, it's 136, for all 50 states. I'm just like, damn, money could be used elsewhere. Well, Iron Mike then, Jen.
So I don't know, man. This whole let's fix the immigration problem. Then what? It should be just like the sister said, like reparations first, and then we'll talk about whatever next we can work on. If they're not serious about reparations, you shouldn't be paying them no mind, man, because
but
they're doing exactly what the Democrats are doing, point blank. And here's the last point I'll make: it's not even about immigrants. It should be about just spending money on foreigners in general. Our government spends all the fucking money overseas. You know how much money they spend on China? Over 606 pieces of legislation in the Congress just on China. People don't even know how much bills and acts and funding go to like allegedly protect the democracy and rights of people in China. It makes no sense. And I live here and I know the grift and the scam. So we should be like just fuck every last foreign program. We should be the most vocal on Ukraine, the most vocal on Palestine. Like we got it wrong. We got to be vocal on them issues and tell them we not support the U.S. government until we get our fucking reparations and be militant as fuck about it. But I'll leave it at that and be humble because I'm just one person. And it ain't gonna work
no, we
unless we do
behind
it
you,
together.
brother.
Appreciate
Brother,
that.
That's really interesting. Let me respond to Iron Mike. Here's the consideration, though, right? Like, I that would be good if there wasn't such a financial and strain on different services that are resulting from immigration, right? You have to stop one so you can have the other. You know what I mean? Look at New York, right? I mean, they're shutting down schools. Like even education services are being completely halted and dismantled right
this
now.
is crazy. Y'all are ignoring black
Hold
people.
on. And that's what listen, I hear him when you're talking about budget, and it's just how it works. That's just how that works, right? That's where the question that comes up when we're talking about reparations, right? Where does it come from, right? How do we pay for it, right? Um, you gotta fix the bleeding somewhere, in the Defense Department, right? Defense contracts, right? The amount we spend on just foreign aid, being the world police. Look at what we're sending over to Ukraine. Um,
We not even consider Americans. The
um, and that's what I mean. And then again, 136 billion on illegal immigration. We're not talking about immigration. I said illegal immigration for all 50 states. A 23 billion in California alone. Are you kidding me? I'm voting for, and listen, and that's what what is it, HR 572 is about. That is an act of Congress to literally put an office for new Americans in the executive branch, right? So they can argue with me about this. Oh, well, look at Project 2025, but are you not looking what happened for that act of Congress? What was that, 2021 and 2022? So you're making a seat at the table for illegal immigrants, right? Just work them right into the economy, into the workforce, into the economy, and you're forgetting about the 92% of a demographic that voted for you. They saved your campaign. So, I mean,
what
I
about the
get
people
it
that
on
built
that
this
side.
country?
That's who I'm talking
Black
about, right?
Americans.
That's who I'm talking about.
Not
And
all of a
Nicole,
sudden it's
But
about
Nicole,
America.
Nicole,
but
I'm with you 100%, right? But you have to stop the bleeding first, and you have to shut down the
Let's
first
stop it and
before
give
the rest of
reparations first.
hold
there's no
on.
support. That's the problem when you cut
Nah,
Stop
down the
the
I'm not
bleeding.
fucking with Darren. I'm not buying nothing Darren saying.
Just
This is
just
a
hold on,
fucking
hold on. We
nah,
gonna go
man.
by
Fuck
hands
that.
real quick.
All right, all right.
Hold on. I get it. But that's a legitimate question because it's always going to come up. You can say fuck it, but do you have an answer for it? But go ahead, Jen.
Hey, how you guys doing? So I live in Detroit metro area, and when Obama like kicked out all of this stuff for regulations, especially with the beauty salons and stuff, that hit like Detroit entrepreneurs really fucking hard. A lot of people lost their livelihood, their business, and Detroit's. I mean, it's huge in the nation for hairstyling and everything else. There's tons of conventions that come here. I mean, barbers are awesome here, and that's how people have made their money for 3 generations and been able to do it legally the way they were doing it until Obama put in all these health regulations that happened. Well, Trump repealed them and allowed people to have that upward mobility again, which was awesome. And also, in Detroit Metro, I know a lot of people took advantage of the Platinum Plan and made their own businesses and had that upward mobility with that too. So for me,
So are you
if
calling that reparations?
I'm not calling that reparations. No,
What
I'm
then?
not speaking to reparations. I'm not. Here's the thing.
What are you talking about?
I'm not a person who would benefit from them, so I don't fucking talk about it.
Hold on,
Hold
bitch.
on,
I'm
Nicole.
Don't
not.
say
Nicole.
bitch. Don't.
Nicole. Please. Please, baby.
Yeah.
Please,
Tell the
baby.
shit out.
Please,
Because
baby.
I'm ready to cuss. Trust me.
No, we're not
But
gonna do
no,
that yet.
don't cuss at me.
Check your messages. Check your messages, baby. Check your messages. Um, go ahead and finish, Jen.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just let her know not to cuss at me.
Yeah, let's keep
I'm
it
not.
civil.
I'm
Let's keep it
sorry
civil.
if I
Yeah.
said a swear word and that offended you
Yeah,
in this space. I'm
because I'm
Okay,
ready
sorry.
to cuss
baby.
you out.
Okay, baby. Okay. We're being civil today. We're gonna have a great conversation today. Come on. Go ahead, Jen.
Thank you. For me though, that's one of the things where I do think that that was specifically to Black policy in Metro Detroit, which I want to see more of because that affects upward mobility of everyone. Period. And I that's the one thing that I see that is something we should all be looking at. What are the laws that stop you from being able to own your own shit, be an entrepreneur, take care of your own money, and be able to make money, and then turn around and leave it for your kids
What
without getting
shit?
taxed the shit out of it.
What is
That's
shit?
for everybody.
She say on
That's
your
not
own
a
shit.
color.
What is
Hold
that?
up. Hold
Nicole,
up.
hold on. I'm trying
I'm
to get an
talking.
understanding, baby. Hold on, baby.
I sound like
Come
that when
on.
she
Go
talk.
ahead,
You know what
Jen.
I'm saying? She sound kind of cocky.
Well,
Can I
well,
get an attitude
just
too?
don't
Because
hear it.
she's had an attitude. Can I catch an attitude? I was
Go,
talking
go for it,
nice.
Jen.
Damn.
Feel yourself, Jen.
Good
And
God.
I'm next. And
I
I'm
was
next.
just I was just in a space I had to leave because I couldn't listen to the cacophony anymore. People talking over people. I
Well,
didn't talk
talk your
I'm
over
shit,
you.
next.
Jen.
Go ahead.
I
Go
Hold on.
held
ahead,
my
Spence.
Okay,
yeah.
baby. Hold
You're
on,
Go
doing
ahead,
it
baby.
Spence.
again. You're doing it again. You're doing it
Baby.
again.
Nicole, baby. Talk your shit, Jen. You
Yeah,
can talk as
these are
freely as you
actual
want.
these are actual policies that should be concern of everyone. I don't care who you are. I grew up in a blue collar neighborhood where I want to be able to make my money and leave my money for my future generations. I don't want the shit taxed out. I don't want somebody to make laws to keep us down forever and never be able to make any money, never be able to own any property. Right now, do you know how hard it is to go out and buy some property and actually have that money and put that money in the bank and have it work for you? It's impossible. It's impossible. Those are the policies that we should be concerned about because it affects everyone, especially people who are already in the lower bracket of earning, those who are already dependent
You
on
can say
the
black
government.
people, ma'am. You can say
No,
it. It's okay.
I'm not saying a
No,
color
no.
because I know
But
people who are
I do
white
listen.
who make
No,
way
listen.
less
This
than
is why
black
this is
people.
important. This is why this is important, right? Because when you don't say it right, I feel like you're just trying to just wash over it, right? You have to say it and recognize it so, right, we can fix it, right? Acknowledge it. It's happening to black people, right? It disproportionately affects black communities, right? And I mean, that's just the truth. Um, we know if, you know,
What I'll say to that, I will agree with you on one thing, that generational government dependence affects black people more than it affects white people. I will say
You
that
a
for
fucking
sure.
lie. You is a fucking lie. They
Nicole.
had the welfare white hoes. Okay,
Oh
I'm
my God.
next.
Nicole, please, today, please, for me, for me. Thank you. Okay. Um, Divisive. Anyone? Nice to see you. Oh, Nicole, baby. Oh gosh.
Good to see you, Re-Ups. I see you got talking about something serious in here. I'm not going to jump in front of Iron. I appreciate you letting me come up. Me and you have had some big battles on this reparations issues, and I'm really ready to at least give you my thoughts on what's been said so far. So I'll go ahead and step down and let Iron go. And you know I always appreciate you having me in your room, sir.
I appreciate it, and thank you likewise. Go ahead, Iron.
Yeah, I'll be quick because I got to go. But I've definitely learned some things in the past 2 years just from social media in this whole reparations debate. And to make things simple, because it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be some nuance when you're dealing with different legislation on different levels, local level, whatever, state level, federal level. But ultimately, we need a common slogan, a common program, and a common tagline that people can understand the message. And I think I've come up with one. And basically, it's fuck that, we want our reparations. So when they say, oh, immigration, the foreign policy, it's a little, no, fuck that, we want our reparations. Point blank, up front. No games. You got to get aggressive. Fuck that. We want our reparations. Let me tell you, if people get behind that slogan and bring that energy to everywhere you go at the local level, and people start to get the message, we're gonna get a little bit closer. But it's got to be fuck that. We want our reparations. I'm sorry, Darren. I appreciate you. You probably got a good heart, but fuck that. We want our reparations. That's what's good.
And Iron Mike, I 100%, I get it, and I agree with you, and I love having that conversation. I mean, Rios will tell you, I'm on that. I'm in your corner, but the money has to come from somewhere. You can't double the national deficit.
Where the money coming from for all these people that's getting $900 a month? Right now, illegal immigrants. Where the
Hold
Agreed.
money
on.
coming from?
It's in the budget. I promise it's in the
Well,
budget.
then,
But
tell
hold
them
on.
it's in the budget. That's where it's at.
Wait. Let Darren answer. Nicole.
I love Nicole's fire. This actually my favorite. But I mean, in all seriousness, Nicole, the problem is that it's in the budgets and it's in the money, right? It's in the coffers, even in the cities. However, now you're seeing cities that are so overburdened, especially with the immigration issue, that they're having to cut other services significantly to deal with just the immigration issue, right? So you
But don't
have
you
to.
think that they should have did that for us a long time ago? What they're
I
doing for the
Hold
immigrants right
on.
now?
hold on, and I don't disagree, Nicole, but now we have a giant. We have a hose with a giant leak in it, right? And so now we have to stop that leak before we can address the clogged pipe down the line. I guess that would really be the best analogy, right? You have to stop the bleeding first to be able to deal with what should have been dealt with a long time ago.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh, baby.
I'm sorry. I might have to step out the room because I'm emotional. I'm serious.
Well,
Like
yeah,
they're not gonna.
this is definitely not an emotional conversation, baby. It's not.
Yeah,
I have
because
no
it's
emotion.
getting on my nerve about this Save America all of a sudden because the white
Well,
people
that's
you struggling. No, give us our money.
so. This is what we're gonna do. Go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead. I like you to go ahead and talk your shit. You know, because I've been saying, hold on, Nicole. So go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah,
Let's get to you, and then we'll get to Elder and move on.
I just feel like it's fucked up. I feel like our message is getting drowned out. The more the white people come around, it's starting to become America. We gotta save America, and that was not our message. Our message was reparations, and we really don't want to talk to y'all. Really, personally, I don't want to hear all that shit about Barack Obama. Fuck him. He fucked over. He not even Black American. The motherfucker is not even associated with descendant of a slave. No, I'ma say it. So when you don't stop bringing up Barack Obama. He's not associated. I'm sorry. I just don't want to hear nothing, sister. I mean, lady. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. But give us our money. Run us our motherfucking check. These foreigners getting it, bro. And they getting it every day. Well, fuck that. They ain't stopping getting it. Fuck it. And I said that motherfucker. And I said that bitch. Yeah, let's stop the motherfucking bleeding. Let's stop the fucking bleeding. And then we can save America. And I throw my motherfucking chair.
I hear you, baby. I hear you. Oh, that is nice, boy. Mm-hmm. It's from the 9. Oh, you don't mind. Mm-hmm. Ninth Ward desire. Shout out to New Orleans. Okay. But that was the truth. I hear you, Nicole. Loud and clear. Seriously, loud and clear. What's up, Elder?
No, I just want to chime in. I mean, we have to be real about this shit. This shit's going to have to be done in steps. You know what I'm saying? As far as reparations go, it's not going to be just about cut the check. Cause I mean, we have to do a series of things and priorities as far as closing the fucking border, deporting these motherfuckers, start passing policy for Black Americans as far as reparations go, um, and have them cut the check. I mean, that's been the hashtag for the longest, right? Cut the check. And that's what they need to do. But also, we need to build up the dollar again. With all this shit happening with the economy, they'll give us the damn money, but the dollar won't be worth the shit. So that's going to help build up the economy. Now, I think that's the way we build up the argument, right? Hey, cut the check, give us our reparations, and when we start spending here in America, buying businesses, pulling our money together to do things, it's going to build up the economy. It's going to be a plus, right? But deportation, closing the fucking borders, stop giving money away to fucking China and Ukraine and all this other shit, and just start dealing with the problems here in America for building up our infrastructure, dealing with Black Americans as far as reparations. It can all be done, but we're going to have a series of steps to get there. I'll land with that.
Go ahead, Jen. Oh
I got a,
man.
I got a question, and this comes from somebody thinking about it in a very Asperger's way. Um, what if instead of asking for a one-time check, you guys actually went at it and said, no, we aren't paying the same amount of taxes for the rest of our lifetime? I mean, imagine how that would be a continual payback from
That
the
can be
federal
part of
government,
it.
from the state government, and from your city government.
Do you know
Like,
what reparations
Just
is,
wait,
Tam?
just
First of
wait,
all,
wait.
well,
I,
she sounds like she don't know what it is.
hold on, baby. See
Okay,
what
continue, tell her.
I wanted to finish the question so I give a well thought out answer, Nicole.
all right, so I usually hear we want to get paid, we want reparations. So to me, it always sounds like it's a one-time check. Okay, that's what it sounds like to me. Every time I hear it as a one-time check. I want to get paid, and that's mostly what I hear in person. That's in person conversations. It's not on spaces. That's in person
Well,
conversations.
then we're gonna
Because
educate you
I'm
today.
talking. Hold up,
We're gonna
hold
educate
up.
you.
You interrupt me, and you know
Nicole,
how
darling.
frustrating that is. That's so frustrating. I don't interrupt you when you're talking. I didn't say anything when you were talking. All right. So just give me love, man. All right. Like, let me get it out of my mouth because it is something that I think about because I'm always outside of the box. That's how my brain works. That's how I was born.
Re-up, check it
Right.
back in
For
real quick.
me, for me, I would, if I were to ask for anything, because like my family, we were indentured slaves. Okay. That's in my history. And we were kept like that. So if I were going to go, okay, indentured slaves, so that affected me somehow, and I'm going to go through and think all that stuff, you know what I would want? I would want my taxes for the rest of my life. I would want to not have to pay any federal taxes for the rest of my life. If anybody offered me anything for that, okay, no federal taxes for the rest of my life. I don't have to pay you shit. And I don't see that being brought up because that was way more affected with the Japanese internment camps, with Native Americans, with slaves, all of these people. You've been generationally affected by that shit, right? So why are you paying taxes to a government that fucked you? That's where I see it, but that's how my brain thinks about it. That's just me. I'm just saying.
But that could be part of it though, because reparations is just not one single check. It's like free health care. You know, um, um, access to the grants and loans. It's like property.
So you're a communist.
College, free college. It's all that. We want all that in a
So you
check.
want communism.
In a check, and you can add that too, because that's
Wait,
pretty
only
good. And that's pretty good what she said though.
what I will say is no, it's not communism, right? I'm looking at it, but it does sound good what she was saying. I'm looking at it as I need a deal similar to what you do for Israel, right? As a part of what they do for, let's say, Native Americans. Let's structure it like that, right? Um, and then we can work on it. We can work with some taxes in there, right?
No, taxes.
But
Taxes
cash,
is already. Taxes is already stopped.
sir, please, yeah, raise your hand. Thank you. Yeah, we'll work on something like taxes. We'll work on something with the education system. But it does. But I mean, if you do close that wealth gap, right? It's projected that we add 5 trillion to the GDP, right? Just by closing the wealth gap with our community. So I mean, it's something to think about, right? Um, but no, I don't want communism, you know. But I mean, if you want to call it that, right? I don't want to be shamed. I'd look into
I
it.
ain't know I ain't know I was being like a communist. Just now, is that really? Huh?
No,
Huh?
that's what white
My
people call
fucking
it. When
people
white,
got
that's what
fucking
white people call it.
killed and
Whenever you do
and
something good for black people,
drowned
it's
and
communism.
hung
Let's
and
not do
raped
this.
and
Let's not do this.
motherfuckers. Then they gonna call me a what? Baby, they forget what they did. I'm saying.
No, they know. No, everybody knows this in American history. We've had those rooms and those spaces. We're not going to go over that again. They know. They know how heinous slavery was.
Well, why they
Right?
talking
No,
like
no, no.
that?
They do not believe it. You, as you heard
Fish,
City
please.
say that she was an
Fish,
indentured
please.
servant. She tried to add
Fish,
herself into it.
fish, please. At least she didn't call herself a slave. She probably was an indentured servant, right?
She
We
got let
know
go.
that
That means she
happened
got
to
let
the
go.
that happened to the Irish. That's a different claim. They got
Yeah,
theirs
y'all got
already.
nothing to do with
I don't want to
us.
turn that into this. So let's go like this. Let's go Mike T. Elder, Anil, and then back to Jen. Come on, let's please hold it. If you want to jump in, just throw your hand up, please. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, um, taking a 10,000-foot view. It's not socialism to try to make no taxes, steer grants in a certain direction, steer land in a certain direction towards the descendants of chattel slavery. That's not socialism. It's not communism. It's just righting wrong. The issue that we all have here, I think, I've said this in the back channel, is we're at a pivotal moment right now with what Mark is trying to do and what the America First movement, the white America First movement, is trying to do, and what foundational Black Americans or just Black Americans are trying to do. We've all reached a critical mass, okay, and this can explode like an atomic bomb and just destroy everything, or this can come together like a nuclear reactor and create free, clean energy, so to speak. We can all feed off the energy and everybody can benefit. We're all on whatever side of this issue we're on can work towards that goal if we take, for instance, Nicole, you got to turn it from 13 down to about 8. I hear you. There's a portion of white America, as you call it, that hears you. But when it devolves to an argument that attacks any individual, other than the fact that the government and historically the Democrats have been the perpetrators here, and it becomes a personal attack, people are going to defend themselves. They
Listen,
don't.
I didn't motherfucking attack no
Nicole,
motherfucking body. No, I don't like when they lecture me. Don't call my motherfucking name. I'm a grown motherfucking woman. Don't
I
fucking
didn't
call
call
my
you any
name.
names, Nicole. I didn't
Don't
call
call
you
my
any names.
motherfucking name.
yeah,
You is
I
not
let's
didn't
keep
call
motherfucking
it.
me
you
out of
names,
motherfucking egg. That's a fucking
Nicole.
fact. Now the
Nicole, I
fuck
didn't.
they fucking offended. Don't
Wait,
talk
wait.
to me then. I'm just saying,
Okay,
bro. Come on now, let's keep it.
so
Come
let's
on,
move
let's keep
on.
it
So
real.
the answer to all of this is how better to further your cause, get your reparations, get
Hmm.
this made whole, than to get a seat at the motherfucking table where these decisions have to be made. Because right now we've got
So listen,
globalists
Mike.
who want to
If I
give all that
listen,
money.
so let's keep it like this. Let's do business like this. If it was me, right, and I'm looking at this project 2025, which looks to be real. So if they did it with this HR 572, right, where you get this inclusion into the executive branch, can I work an office like that in for Black Americans, right? And then we all start appropriating some things. Can we do that?
Certainly,
That's how I work it in, right?
why shouldn't
Um,
there be an office of foundational Black Americans?
I need some trade-offs here, right? Let's do business, right? There was a harm done. There's precedent for it. Like, let's work it in, right? Well, where are we paying
Look,
for this? Well,
I'll tell you right
let's
So
now.
cut this off with
expeditiously, can I
immigration.
get it?
Let's cut that off with immigration. Look at all this excess spending, right? You got the defense budget, right? You know, it's a whole lot of waste going on in there. I mean, so you make it work, right? Let's do this.
Let me give you an example of something because it's something I work very closely with. I do work as part of the defense budget. I work in the the military industrial complex. I work for Lockheed Martin. Okay, and we lost just recently. We lost a contract for the future replacement of the Black Hawk helicopter. Everyone knows what that is and what it does. Okay, we lost that contract not because the helicopter that our competitor, the product our competitor was bidding was better, but because Bell Helicopter had a better congressional and Senate backing around it where its
Okay, so
plants were.
they lobbied a little better. Okay,
Exactly. So
yeah.
why we know that the money gets spent, wherever this money comes from and however it gets spent, is determined by people who aren't us right now. Why not make those people us? I work in the political arena locally here in Connecticut in the Republican Party in my town. I backed I think that's how I got in this space, was talking about how I backed a young black American, young football coach, former college football player, to be the candidate in my district that I had run for the last time. It was fully prepared to run for again, but I stepped aside and said I put my support and the support that was built up around me
Mm-hmm.
behind him. And guess what? Lost the election, but we lost by way less votes than I lost by just 2 years prior. You know why? Because people want someone who speaks for them, who is from them, to be at the table. They're starving for this, regardless of whether that person has melanated skin or as lily white as I am. It didn't matter to me what color he was. He spoke, believes in the foundational principles of this country. And yes, it was wrong at the beginning. 3/5 of a person, all of that. Slavery was fucking wrong. We know that. We don't also need to be lectured at. A chunk of us, anyway, don't need to be lectured on that. We understand it, and we know that that the wrong needs to be righted. The way I can't speak for you, you need to come to the table, and yelling and screaming at people is not going to get you a seat at the table. Trust me.
What if I don't want to
Well,
sit at the
well,
table? What
here's
if I want
no,
to
no. Wait,
stay
hold
with the
on. This is
people?
what. No, wait. This is what I will
If
say
you
to
don't
that.
need a
Right.
table, you don't get shit. Simple as that.
Look, you don't fucking talk to me.
Simple as that. You
You
don't
don't.
get.
So what I will say to that is, right, method of getting that seat at the table are different. Right. It's going to be different for everybody. That's a whole another different conversation. I would say. I don't even. Yeah. I don't. I don't want to go into
Yeah,
that
that's
now.
that. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. That's a
Fuck
separate
that table.
conversation.
I
What
take the
has to
less one to
happen
that table.
is
I'm gonna sit
So
at
if
your
you don't
table.
have a seat at the table, listen. If you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. I don't know how y'all think about that, but yeah, I'm definitely not trying to be um anybody's pawn, right?
look. Here's an
That's what
analogy
I'm
for
saying.
for you guys. And Nicole, you'll appreciate. You could probably appreciate the analogy I'm about to make. Right? You just come home from a vacation and there's shit pouring in your basement from a broken pipe, backed up sewer, like someone was just saying. Okay, where we're at right now is we've got to stop that fucking shit that's pouring across the border. Once we stop that shit, there's going to be a whole process that takes place to clean up that house,
So,
reinvigorate
so
the
Mike,
house.
Mike,
here's where. Wait. Here's where I am. We
you
know
know what I'm
that,
about to
right?
say, Rios.
Wait, majority of our community knows that, right? We I think we've already had that conversation time and time again. Like we know that is part of the problem. Like where do we go from here, right? It started to talk about where what we're going to concede, right? If we are talking about doing business on immigration, I mean, we all know immigration is part of the problem now,
So
and
Rios,
now the
here's
the
how
the
you tie
worry the
here's how you
worry
tie
for me.
reparations to it. Rios, here's how you tie your reparations and you get paid. Someone's got to clean this mess up. Someone's going to inhabit this house. Someone's going to maintain this house. Someone's going to benefit from the property taxes on this house. Get a seat at that table, and you will get more than you ever would, just like Gen X said, asking for a simple check or whatever. Be at the table permanently so shit like this can't happen again.
Well, put us at the motherfucking table. Rios and
Okay,
Rios first.
no, y'all don't want me at the table.
Y'all,
You want me
you
at the table.
look. I'm gonna
Um,
be who I am
so
at the motherfucking table, though.
okay,
Just remember,
uh,
I
let's.
got to be the chairman of my district by other people in the district voting me
I
in
mean,
a
that's how that
caucus.
happens. Hmm.
Right. So I didn't just
What's
put
the order?
myself there because I was white or because I was the most politically motivated person in the town, because I'm not. Yeah, I got that because I spoke up at the table, at the caucus. Get in there. If you can come in there and not yell and scream and call names, you
And I
We
will be
got
can.
you, Mike.
surprised how much
Wait.
power you
We
get.
not okay. Okay, got you. We going not gonna keep circling back to that. We got you. We got you. We got you. Um, I don't even remember the order. Who was it? Was it Elder?
I was next, yeah.
Okay.
No, I was gonna tell Gen X. If you look up California Reparations Task Force and read their documentation, you will find out how reparations is broke down. It's not just about a check; it's about policies. Just like the banking systems, how they're racist as fuck against giving Black Americans loans, right? 55 million, I believe, was just paid out. They gave it to the NAACP, not the people that was fucking harmed. You see what I'm saying? So it did nothing for our fucking community. We need to hold all these institutions accountable. And as far as reparations go, we need secure loans. We need policies better for putting our children through these schools, better schooling. They just had where our kids was turned around in New York when they got off the bus because the immigrants had taken to school. See what I'm saying? So there's a lot of shit that needs to be done. But Gen X, start there and read up on that. It'll give you some ideas about reparations and what it entails. And I'll land with that.
But the check first.
That's always. Listen. That's always.
I have a question. Like, do white America agree
Hold on.
with the Democrats when it comes to this bullshit? Because I don't hear an uproar coming from
No,
them.
Hold on.
we do not.
Where's y'all uproar? Like,
No,
where
they talk about it in their spaces all the time, right?
so it's the Patriots and the
It's just
Black
some things I
Americans. Is that how
disagree
we got
with.
to march nowadays? The Patriots and the Black Americans?
Black Americans are patriots. You're the descendants of American slaves who built this country. You are
I'm talking about
patriots.
the white
You
Patriots
deserve it.
too.
Yeah, the white patriots and the black patriots, the people who have an invested interest in this country, we do have to come together because have a huge problem right now. And Mark is very good about bringing up the idea that there's an Office of New Americans. By default, when you create the Office of New Americans, you've created two categories, New Americans and Old Americans. Guess who's an Old American? White, black, Asian, anyone who
Hold
is
on,
not
Nicole.
an illegal
No,
immigrant.
it's the whites.
Hold on. No.
No,
It's
Seriously.
the
white
I mean,
yeah.
is
so
technically.
It wasn't.
let's just keep this shit a buck, right? And when we talk about America, we think of white and black. We're not thinking of anything else. That's the entire conversation. That's the history of it. That's just the history of it, Nicole. I'm sorry, people may disagree with it, but that's just it, right? The problem is these foreign actors that are coming in.
They don't consider,
Office,
but they
well,
don't
listen,
consider us
they,
American, though, bro.
Nicole, they have an act of Congress that just was put in 2 years ago. HR 570. I'm gonna put it in Jumbotron to put
We
an
don't ever leave
officer
on that.
to
But I'm talking about the
install an
white
office
folks
of new Americas in the executive
don't
branch,
consider
bro.
us as
They're
white
trying.
folks. I
Well,
mean,
they're
as
in the process of
Americans.
replacing. You just replacing
Re-ups.
you
Put
all.
in
I mean,
Senate Bill 433 as well. That's the bill that's called the New Deal for New Americans. And guess who the new Americans are? Senate Bill 4.S.433. Put that in the nest as well. Hey man, if you want to have a debate about this reparations thing, you know I'm on the other side. I'll be willing to come in and have a productive conversation about it. But I got to head out. I appreciate you letting me listen in because, I really want to learn from what your community is asking for, what you're looking for, and what your concerns are. And you're always willing to give me a space to do that. So I appreciate you, even though we don't agree on this issue. I have a lot of respect for you and people in your community. So thank you
yes,
so
sir.
much, man.
We'll set that up. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is it's getting heinous out here. It's getting disrespectful. Let's see. Anil, Fish, and then Gen X. Oh shit,
I gotta
and then
raise my
back to Iron
hand.
Mike. Yes, darling.
Nicole, and stop screaming.
Anil, the G man.
Oh, sorry. I thought she had something to say first. I just have kind of a odd comment. I think we got this subject. I'm just wondering how it gets paid out, and let me give you some backstory so you'll see why I wonder. I look white as can be. I was adopted by an immigrant from India. So my mother's side of the family, we have an escaped slave that married a Cherokee Indian in our genealogy. But my children, their mother was black and Chinese. So my kids are pretty mixed. I imagine that's becoming more and more of the norm going forward. So how do you determine what percentage is eligible for reparations?
3/4.
we
So
we would not be discussing that at all. Go look it
so
up.
and there's qualifications, right? It's in HR 40. That's why delineation, is important, right? That determines the who, right? You need to be able to trace. I think what did they say, Elder? At least one side back to what maybe the 1870 census, and then you would have had to classify as being black or African American. That classification within the last I forget the time period, but if you're not doing any of
10
that,
years.
right, then I mean it's a no go.
And,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Go look at
and
it. What they trying to see how
looking
they gonna
back
get
at
some reparations? Ain't
Hold
that
on,
something?
the
hold on.
part of my family that was American Indian too, or
That's a
God,
totally different claim.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Go,
that's not it.
go see
I'm
the
not taking fair of the
Indians.
claim.
Hold on.
I have I am Indian from India, but on my mother's side of the family, there are Native Americans too. And
Okay.
I know that we were not eligible for any sort of benefits because our family was staunchly in that part of the family against being counted. So you're talking about proving that someone was a part of something or going back to the 1870s. I can't imagine there's perfect records
Oh, there
to
are
show who
most
was a
of
slave, who
most of
wasn't.
But you
most
talking
of
about the
have.
Indians though,
Most
Bill?
perfect records.
We don't got nothing to do with the Indians.
Yeah, as far as
There's good
the
records for us. I
yeah
mean,
roles. Yeah, I don't know anything about the
I have
natives.
records.
That,
So
but yeah.
yeah, but you have to do it yourself. Then you will learn that there are records out there through the Mormon Church and other places you can check. You can trace your history if you try.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
now got
saying?
nothing to do
And
with our reparations.
you'll find out a lot of shit. So I suggested you do that.
Well, I have. I've gone back, but I just know that when the option was to register and go on the rolls and be on the reservation, our family chose against it.
For the
Oh,
$5 Indian.
Nicole. Oh my gosh, you this morning.
Okay, baby.
She needs to switch to decaf. That was it. I was just wondering what the qualification was. Was it a quarter? Was it a third? Was it an eighth? You know what was be classified as
It doesn't matter.
effective
Like all
records?
is I don't if those quarter or third or eighth if they're not classifying themselves as black, then I don't know what to tell them. They just don't qualify or African American. I mean, it depends on what they. I mean, they could still have that one quote unquote ancestor, but if your family wanted to go off as started passing, as we like to say, or reclassify themselves as white or another race, then I'm sorry. It's just like your family that didn't get on the reservation that lost that claim that way. It,
Yeah,
it
that would
was
be
it
for the
was
Office of Indian Affairs. That's
You
a
yeah.
gotta go
question
see
for
the
them.
casino.
But I was just using that as an analogy, folks. Come on now. Um, go ahead, Jen.
I thought Fish or somebody else was before me.
Oh yeah, Fish. He put his hands down. Sorry about that. Fish. Fish going once. All right, go ahead, Jen.
All right. So I'm Gen X, like literally the generation of Gen X too. So it's always difficult for me to have these conversations where people demand that I say, because this happened earlier, that I call it out as white or black. I literally was raised to not say that, not see that. I think people need to really understand that about Gen X. And it's something that I run into in conversations quite often with millennials and Zoomers, and it's very frustrating for me because I'm the type of person that I want to speak to actual solutions. I'm speaking to details. I'm not speaking to a broader term because I find those conversations wasteful. It's a waste of time to have a conversation where we're not coming out with a game plan, where there's not actual details or something for me to take away and think about and then be able to take and vote on later or go look up and research. So I do appreciate that you guys are throwing out some details and information in this conversation, because I've left others where it's just been back and forth and people trying to educate people all the time without actually giving any kind of a game plan. And it's good to hear that there is a game plan that's going on in California that goes more towards taxes and things like that. The one thing that I would tell anybody, I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care, how you want to raise your family or who you think you are, how you identify, any of that stuff. Anything that's going to make you to depend on the government in order to get what you feel you deserve is not a great way to go about it. So if you're looking at, they're going to give me this from the government and they're saying they're going to do that, for how long? For that term, until other people vote to take it down, until
It's
it's taken
no.
out. That's the one thing, like, especially it has to be down there forever as a guarantee that no one else can
That's
crisscross
not
that
a
off the
we're
slate.
not begging the government. They owe us that. So it's different when it comes down to like the descendant of the slaves, you know what I'm saying? It's not like a welfare, like the government giving you something, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
it's just
saying?
it's
They
yeah,
owe us that.
Okay, so you're saying they owe you that, but what I'm talking to is how you're going to get what you think you're owed. That matters. It matters how it's put down on paper and
yeah.
what you're
It just needs to
asking
be an
from.
act of Congress. Yeah, and you're asking from the United States government, right?
And secondary, to follow that up really quick too, is why, okay, this is another thing that my Aspie brain always has difficulty with, right? You have like the NAACPA, all these different things. They get how much money, right? How much money have they gotten? How much money are all these grifters getting off of keeping the issue of racism together? Why not go after them for some money too? Like, why not go after them and say you have to disband after this is passed, and all of the funds that are left in your coffers need to go towards this,
Yeah,
need to
baby,
go
all that's
No,
towards
included.
funding
well,
this.
so this is what I would say. Those legacy organizations right now are hmm, misrepresenting us, right? Just like our Congressional Black Caucus, right? We have foreign actors in there, people who may look like me, but right, we don't share the same interests, right? So all the money that's being donated to them, right, from these corporations, it's strings attached, right? Maybe to push a certain agenda, maybe to not do certain things, maybe to issue statements like John Brown in San Francisco. I think that's what his name was. What was the chair, right? Um, to go against the reparations plan in San Francisco. I mean, it's stuff like that. So it's misrepresentation. What I would say is we need people from the lineage in those positions, right? Um, but to disband them, no, because who's going to do the lobby, right? I mean, the Indians still have groups that lobby for them, right? So does every other ethnicity or race or class, whatever you want to call it, right? I would think. I don't know that's a different conversation too. I don't know because they don't. I don't know what you're asking for is legislation and act of Congress, and those are just groups or entities. I would say. So I don't know. Let me check something.
Is someone talking? I don't hear anything.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be talking over somebody because I just heard some blank space. Um, so when you have entire entities that are built upon the fact that there is a minority being overrode by a majority, or these people um, need something in advance of these other people. I don't care where you're applying that. If that's addressed in a one-time thing, then why would they still need to be there? That's a difficulty that I have when I look at this. Okay, so if this is going to be addressed once and for all, then why would those other entities still be there? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, they keep themselves going by keeping the issue going. But if we're going to address the issue, then why would they need to be there? Does that make sense?
Riff, you might be able to verbalize that better than I can, so I put it in your back channel.
Is anybody talking?
No, we
No,
got some
go
dead
ahead.
air.
Yeah, go ahead. Whoever handed up, go ahead. I'm.
So Jen and the other members of white America that are here, what you have to hear reading between the lines is there's a
Mike talking?
delineation.
See, I don't think I can hear. I'm gonna drop.
Yeah, drop
Can
down
anybody
and
else hear me?
come back up. Yeah, we can hear you.
There's a delineation in the FBA movement. If I'm just gonna use that because it's a 3-letter term that I can spit out easy right now. There's a delineation between what's owed to the foundational Black Americans, and that they don't want the freeloaders, so to speak, that have come in later, come across this border, come across, and they're willing to explain the definition of what that is. And I don't know that we need to have that definition laid out before the conversation of whether the debt is owed is completed, right? So if we can get the agreement that we have that there is a debt owed, that is the first step. And I'm speaking from white America, not for Black America. We need to get over the hump that we're not guilty of anything. We're not being punished for anything. People who are harmed need to be made whole. And once they're made whole and given the what's due them as far as a seat at the table, they'll delineate amongst themselves what that definition is, because they'll be part of the team, they'll have a stake in the game. This is where the anger comes from there, and why we as white Americans get feel this shame, or whatever. They don't mean to shame or yell and scream at us, so to speak, because they've already made that delineation. They already know that they're owed something. We have to accept that there is a portion of this country that built this country and got nothing in return. And for the past 40 or 50, 60 years, they have been led down a path by mostly Democrats, but a lot of white Republicans too, down a path that has kept them from that seat at the table. And now we have an opportunity. If we can have an act of Congress and Senate that defines a office of new Americans, there's absolutely no reason why we can't have, by an act of Congress, a portion, a division of the executive branch that is for foundational Black Americans. We have left them out of this process for way too long, and it's time. I think the best solution for them, this is just my opinion, the best solution is to get in those seats of power with the help of those who have been the gatekeepers for so long, that understand where this goes. Every dollar we spend on these illegal immigrants that are coming here, at least 60 cents on that dollar is going back to the countries that they had allowed to be shitholes, maybe through some help of our intelligence agencies. We won't argue that. But they've allowed them to be crap holes. And now they've come here and they're freeloading off of everyone that was a true American. It's time to get true Americans, those that either foundationally have been here since the beginning or have assimilated and recognize the what America is supposed to be about. It's time to get us all seats at this table, because now, by sheer numbers, the white Americans who are just going along living their lives have been woken up. Let's say they poked the bear enough. Let's all get together and work on this. And it starts, at least from the white community, with focusing on the fact that there is a debt owed and there is an opportunity here for the debt to be paid and everyone to benefit. That, to me, is a perfect symbiotic relationship. And later on down the road, when they have a seat at the table, they define through the help of this type of an office or just an entrenchment in the entire machine, because we're all getting eaten up by the machine.
Go ahead, boss. Or Darren.
I'll be back in a bit. I've gotta jump in a couple
Okay.
meetings. I'll be back in a bit.
I appreciate it.
I'm back up here too. I got a
All right, boss lady, then Iron Mike. Yeah.
The next person could go. I'm actually in the middle of doing something, but I'll go after the next person.
Go ahead, Iron Mike.
Yeah, I heard some interesting perspectives. I'm from Detroit as well. I think I told this story before, but I'll tell it again. I'm from the 13th district, congressional district of Detroit. That's basically where the whole reparations fight started, at least in Congress, and it started even earlier with the people of that community. And what happened in my district breaks my heart when it comes to these politicians and these political parties. You can't trust either one, because my representative was Rashida Tlaib, and this is the blackest. This is one of the most black, historically black districts in the entire history of America. The almighty 13th congressional district on the west side of Detroit. And we got Rashida Tlaib. They changed the district, and so whatever 2 years ago, we got someone up for that seat. The Democrats, the actual black Democrats, uh, they all ran too many on one, for the spot. So they split all the votes, and we literally got an Indian dude who's actually a conservative and a Republican, but he ran on the Democratic ticket because he's rich and he got money. Not even a Detroiter, not even from the community, but I still don't know how he's definitely not from our hood. He couldn't even he couldn't survive a day in my hood. It's impossible. But somehow he ran for Detroit. He bought everyone chicken dinners. He went out, did the photo ops, eating chicken. I'm not making any of this shit up. Democrats ran him. They took him. They didn't care. He was a Republican. He had money, and he stole that seat. And I put in a message below. If you look in the message bubble, there's the poster of the brother that was running for the Republicans. And I supported this young man because he's from my community. I didn't care if he was a Republican. He's actually from the community. But this brother, I mean, just look at his poster. It says anything is possible. Like, he's talking about Henny and Coke. That's how he had to run. And nobody in the Republicans supported him or backed him. He get no money because they felt it was all going to the Democrats. This shit is so fucking corrupt. And I hear people coming in these spaces, and that's cool. You guys want to empower these dialogues to have different people in other communities. But the bottom line is, these motherfuckers, they want to sacrifice your push for reparations for their own agenda, which is one, maybe sacrifice you on the altar of immigration. So you're going to trade off reparations just for immigration causes, or two, they're going to sacrifice your reparations fight just to get your vote or to get you in their political party. And so I say this to anybody who's serious about this fight within the sound of my voice, that I agree with Brother Elder. I agree with Re-Ups. I'm never going to fight with nobody black fighting for reparations. I'm not. It's not even at the point where we got to argue or fight. We gotta get there. We got to get to the table. We got to knock the table over. And I believe that ultimately we'll be in a position where someone like a Brother Elder could slide up in there and finesse the deal. But we're not going to get there until we're aggressive. All this stuff about no name calling, fuck all that. You got to be belligerent. You got to get the young people riled up. We got to get out there in numbers and force and let them know, fuck that. We want our reparations, point blank. Fuck what you talking about. Until we got 100,000 people running down on the capitals, every fucking city, every municipality saying, fuck that. We want our reparations. It ain't gonna happen. And you don't have to apologize or negotiate or politic or discuss with any of these motherfuckers. Because once they see us doing that, the message will be sent, and then we're gonna get what we need to get. But it's gotta be militant, and that's the time I'm on. And y'all encouraging me to go out, put my money and resources where my mouth is, and get with the young people in my community. Because we angry as fuck where I'm from. And the sister on stage from Detroit, we angry as a motherfucker. Angry to the core. Angry as a motherfucker. So fuck that. We want our reparations. Don't say shit to me. If you're not talking about reparations, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my face. Fuck that. We want reparations. Thank you very much.
And see, what I will say to that energy, right, is it's all needed in the movement, right? And that energy lets those who represent us in those backroom meetings know that you can no longer be that controlled opposition, right? Like, I think it was Reverend Willie Brown in San Francisco, right? Then convened with his board, just released his statements, talking against it. But he got 50 million from, what is that, Wells Fargo? It's going towards the new NAACP headquarters. I mean, so I hear you. I hear you. Go ahead, Captain, then Jen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was wondering. I heard the man earlier talk about that the fact that black people are delineating. I was wondering, are white people going to delineate too, like foundational white Americans, or
So,
the
Captain.
Mayflower? Yeah.
So what I say to that is they don't have the power that they once had, right? If you're in here and you're in some rooms with the Groypers, sometimes they have a problem with the small hat community, the Jewish community, right?
Okay.
That's that. Some of them, right? Is going to be that disenfranchised white male that Donald Trump spoke to, right? That "Make America Great Again" chant. Because I mean, it didn't speak to Black Americans because America's never truly been great for us, right? So it's just that part of that dog whistle, right? And let's just be honest about that. So they have their own problem. They should. I really think they should delineate, right?
So I want to know who's
But
who.
but I mean, they know. I mean, they know
Well,
their
I don't.
heritage. They know their lineage.
Like I
As
want it
long,
to be
listen,
like.
this is how I am. I can only focus on me and my community, right? Just like every other community does. I mean, it would be nice for them too, but that's not overly important for me.
But the thing is that we're handcuffed to these motherfuckers. Like we're like it's just you know what I mean. Like it's they have nowhere to go, and neither do we. We're handcuffed.
No, we're not.
We have history to get. How are we not?
Because things not equal. We're not handcuffed to them
It
at
ain't
all.
about getting. Meaning you carry the flag that we wave, the flag that we carry. Like it doesn't come off. There's two
Meaning
groups of
that
We have two
people.
different
even though we don't got
groups.
the same privileges, we're still
Huh?
Americans.
Huh?
No, I was saying even though we may not have the same privileges as white Americans, we're still all American. You know, they can't just
Yeah,
go back to Europe
But then how come they
yeah.
got the most
That's
money
what
then and we don't?
because it's because
that,
And
they
you still
systematically set
American,
it up
huh?
like that. Of course,
Yeah, yeah,
they
girl. Go
systematically
sit
set
down
it up that
somewhere.
way. They didn't want us to have it, but now you can see the demographics is giving it to these raggedy ass immigrants,
Yeah, and that's why they mad
and now
now.
they're not
And
liking
that's why
that
they running
because they
scared
didn't
now.
vote for Biden to do
Trying to
that.
call us Americans. We were never called Americans.
So
what is she
I'll look
drunk?
at it like this, right? I'm gonna explain it like this. This is how this immigration shit is working, right? Because it's a fact that there's going to be old Americans versus new Americans. I mean, they're literally spelling it out for you with the legislation they're putting in, and that's just what it is, right? We know there's. That's why I
Yeah,
said there's only two Americas, right? There's Black America, White America. Correct. We do live. We have two lived experiences. But for the most part, that's the history of America, white and black, right? I get what he's saying. Um, but now you have a government that's pushing for office of new Americans, right? For
yeah.
straight immigration, allow these immigrants to vote, legislation to allow them to vote, like in Santa Ana, California, um, letting undocumented have a pathway to citizenship via becoming a law enforcement. Where's that in Illinois? So, I mean, it's happening. So either you can accept it begrudgingly, Nicole, right, and figure out, look, I don't. And historically, we've lived next to them. We haven't lived with them, right? And things I would say are more segregated than they once were. So it's not like we don't know how, right, to coexist. I mean, we have a common objective, right? I won't say an enemy. We have a common objective, right, which is not to be replaced, right? Because if we already historically we know it's going to disproportionately affect us. It's going to hit us first,
We don't got nothing to
right?
do with them.
Um,
I want
Understandable,
them to
but this is
delineate.
business.
Yeah, I
And
want.
and it,
I want
and if so, that would be something they would have. But we have legislation on the books by way of California that already gives us a legal way to delineate. So I mean,
Did y'all see the
we're good.
video of the Mexican saying, I guess they had like a meeting, a town hall where the Mexican man that could barely speak English was saying to a black woman, "Oh, no more money for you. No more money for you." Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that video?
And
no.
that's why I use that as examples of
I'm
there's
gonna
no more
post it in
brown
the
and
Google time.
yeah, there's no brown and black, there's no people of color, there's no brown and black coalition, no such thing. Go
I
ahead.
want white folks to delineate the same way that we're doing it, like in terms of like statistics and everything.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll do that. Hopefully they'll do that, but I don't know. That would
I
be
want to
something for them to
get
look
the
into.
white people in the room like speak on that, so we can know who the hell is who.
We'll see. We'll see if anyone will want to ask that. But go ahead, Jen, and then Mike.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to speak in. Can you say that, please? Like, explain it better?
Uh, Mayflower white folks versus new immigrant, like Irish, Italian, all that type of stuff. Black people are Black Americans, free whatever. We're and like in California, all the statistics like either crime, health, whatever is being delineated from just one large big
Disaggregated.
block of black. Yeah, disaggregated from one big block of black. Um, and I was wondering, like, do you are white people going to do the same thing? Like, foundational whites
Cap-
versus
Captain, Captain,
yes,
we already do. We
oh, you
already
do.
delineate. We we know and when I say we, those are Americans. If you look at the American First movement, uh, it's basically as far as the white coalition, if you want to call it the white American. There's a difference between an immigrant that came from, let's say, Russia in the past 20 years and an immigrant who came from Yugoslavia or other parts of Europe 70, 80 years ago. And there's also a difference between someone who came over on the Mayflower. A common thing that happens, I don't know, Jen is from my generation also, Gen X, and we're friends, so maybe I can explain this a little. But a common thing that was done, at least when I was coming up, was you tried to trace your lineage back to the revolution because there were groups, one specifically Daughters of the American Revolution, who would do things for female descendants of Revolutionary War, if you want to call them foundational white Americans, the Mayflower people that I hear you guys mention, and we would look to see if we had that lineage, and if we had that lineage, there were some advantages, and now those were not governmental for enforced advantages, but they were white advantages nonetheless. Those are the privileges of being white that a lot of people don't realize we had. The government, especially now, with this idea of forming an office of new Americans, realizes that number one, the check boxes of white are now throwing a whole bunch of people who have no stake in the game of having built the country, no stake in the game of wanting to perpetuate the country, and are just literally handing them everything that they need when they get here based on some falsified claim of, asylum or whatever else. They've used the system that is built up that, for instance, when a good chunk of my ancestors came here through Ellis Island, some of my family came here, the ones whose my last name comes from, came here and were sent back home after a year because the circumstances that they had arranged to get here, meaning they had a job, they had some money, they had a sponsor, those things changed and they had to go back home. They went back home and came here again. My family immigrated twice in the late 30s before the war. This is how you can delineate. Did your family come here, even if you're, quote, an immigrant, since we'll use that Civil War era, in my opinion, is what we're trying to trace lineage back to, right? If you've come post that, and you came through the system that made you assimilate and become an American, swear an oath to this country, fight for this country, worked in this country, paid taxes in this country, received very few, if any, actual handouts. We can delineate that. We do it all the time.
Okay, I want it to be official though. Like I want it to be like in crime
Well,
statistics.
well, Captain,
Every
that's something. Yeah, Captain, that's something they would have to do. That's nothing we have control over. It's something they
oh
have
yeah,
to advocate for.
Right.
I was
I
talking to them.
I have
Yeah.
a question with the whole white and black terminology. So you know how you got like light skinned Hispanics or Latino, when they come over they select that they're white, even though they're Hispanic or Latino. Like how do the white community feel about that? That's like equivalent to the Dominican woman saying that they're not black, they're Dominican. But they'll select that they're white. So how does the white
Well,
community feel about that?
according to Joe Biden, that's who we have to get in line with, right, and start working with. I mean, that's what his words to those leaders that Jim was talking about, the NAACP. He literally told which was supposed to be a closed Zoom call, we need to get in bed because that's who's going to have the control, right? Or white passing Latinos. I mean, so
Let,
that
let,
like,
let me throw an example out there for you, Re-Ups. You all remember relatively recently, there was a mass shooting in Texas, I think it was, at a outlet mall, and the reports that the liberal media being pushed by these these Office of New American promoting type Democrats was that this guy was a Hispanic or Latino white supremacist. How does that even exist? But a lot of people bought that hook, line, and sinker. And the reason why they said it was because they're trying to tie anything bad to whiteness when it comes to politics. but then
Well,
they turn
I mean,
around and redesignate these people as Latino when it comes to the handouts for the votes.
The same with blacks. Like, you'll have Jamaicans, Haitians, or anybody that look like us. They'll call themselves black and they'll commit a crime. And when somebody say, "Oh, it was a black person," they automatically think it's a black American, not a Jamaican.
Right. It's statistics. The best class I ever took in college was statistics. And but the second best was the intro to business enterprise. And the very first thing this professor said is, we're going to talk about statistics. And I'm going to tell you something. There are three kinds of lies in the world. There are white lies, there are damn lies, and there's statistics. You can make statistics say whatever the hell it is you want it to say, even though it's supposed to be a science. It's garbage in equals garbage out. So if you make a checkbox that says white and you just use some sort of a color scale and say, oh, at this level of at least melanin, you are white. But then later you can redivide that checkbox into, well, no, you came from Latin America, so you're Latino, and we're going to give you this because you're Latino. That's totally unconstitutional.
But
And first of all, why can't we just have a checkbox that says, are you white and you've been here and you're a naturalized American, or are you light skinned, whatever that
the
is,
Irish wasn't slaves though.
and you're Latino?
The Irish wasn't slaves though. Somebody said.
oh, no.
Well, no,
What's
no,
up,
no, no, no,
Wayne?
no,
What's up,
no.
Wayne?
I'll explain that real quick for you. There's a very big difference, and I don't think Jen, who implied that, was trying to say that an indentured servant that came over here was basically, by some sort of textbook, a slave. But you can't equate that, and I don't think Jen was, to someone who was brought here against their will as a piece of property or chattel slavery. We totally get that difference. There's a huge chunk of what you're calling white American and racist who completely understands that difference. The problem is our language, because we've been divided for so long. Like you said, it's black America and white America. Because we've been divided for so long, our language doesn't align. We can't say, when I say minority, I usually mean it in a small m, not a capital M, small m, lowercase m. That just means minority in a mathematical sense, not minority in the sense that you guys have had to been, when I say you guys, I mean black America,
We
has
don't
been
use that
wrapped
word.
up
No,
with.
we don't use that word.
Right, I
That word
know.
is
And
very
that's what I was
that word
talking
is
about.
very,
Right.
it
That's why I
encompasses
said
a lot.
I stopped
Who,
using the
what,
word,
when. I mean, that's
because
how
language,
white
I
women
stopped.
benefit from,
Right.
never mind.
Right. I totally get you. I
Yeah.
understand it. So I stopped using the word because someone explained it to me. I just needed it explained to me once. I process it and that word goes away. I didn't mean to bring it up to trigger anyone. I was saying about the language. It's language. When we can find the common language, and that's what these spaces with Mark and with re-ups and with
See, and that's
with
why I
with
don't
the
want to. That's listen, and that's specifically why, right? I want, and that's why I'm gonna just say it, right? I don't care how you feel about it. Say it. Say black, right? Because it's specifically speaking to me and about me as a black American, an African American, a Negro, color, whatever I was classified, right? It speaks to me, right? Or as they have it in the 14th Amendment, a descendant of a freeman or a freeman, right? That speaks to me. So let's not push past, oh, it's just American first, it's America. And, I mean, if you want to delineate amongst whites, do that. I think you should, right? That's how a certain community
that's
got all that
right.
power. But
That's the whole point.
to
Re-ups that I was trying to get to is, let us delineate. You'll see it, and you guys obviously are delineating. And I'll be 100% honest with you that I made a 180-degree turn in my mind on reparations because of one of re-up's spaces. Okay, there, because I was able to accept using that term black that Jen knows. When we were brought up, we didn't, we almost don't know what to say because of the tension that was there. And like
Okay,
Rios
hold up.
just said,
We
the
don't know what
tension's
to
even
say.
higher.
Mike, we don't know what to say because the word has changed in our generation of what to say went from when I was born and when you were born. It was colored people. Then it went to Afro American. Then it went to black. Then it went to African American. And then it went to people of color. That's just in my lifetime. That's how many different terms were used and given to us as this is the appropriate way that you delineate between people who literally just have more melanin on their skin. Now, somebody was asking, do I check the white box? No, I don't. I actually don't. I don't check a box at all if I don't have to. Why the fuck would I? Does it benefit me for anything? Fuck no. This is my profile picture is me with a tan, people. I am white as white can be. I am all Northern European descent. I mean, so, and I'm sorry, it doesn't give me any like bonus on paperwork to check a box for anything. And I don't agree with it. I don't think those boxes should fucking be there for anything unless you're actually going to use them for something to help people out, period. But they don't. They just want to use that for whatever fucking reason they want to use it for. Sorry, I'm swearing so much, but it ticks me off. And I was raised that we have a conversation about who you live with in your community. And I live in a mixed community. I know my neighbors. I know them by name. When COVID happened, we all walked around and knocked on each other's doors and said, do you need anything? I'm going here. I'm going there. What do you need? We worked with each other. So that's just where I'm coming from. And when you say I want reparations, I'm just going to tell you, coming from a conservative Christian mindset, looking the way that I look, I'm 50. What am I going to be? 52, 53 years old? I don't know. I forget after 50. But I need to hear what that means. The word doesn't mean anything unless you're telling me what you're specifically asking for. So just like,
What does
I don't know how to put
reparations
that out
mean?
there. Yes, like what is, because coming
It
into this
means
thing, what did I
repairing
say?
me, right? It means
I know,
repairing
but
me,
To
what
right?
does
me.
that mean?
Wait,
How? What's the process? Tell me the process. Don't just
the
say the
same.
word over and over again.
Hold on, Jen. Let me explain it to you, right? That means repairing me, right? For this injustice that this country has caused me, right? I'm talking about chattel slavery and then all the harms that happen thereafter, right? Reconstruction, and then
Now,
that was
see,
taken away,
that makes
right?
so
Then
much
you
that
go
makes
into the
more
Jim
sense to
Crow.
me.
We're talking about legislation that specifically kept me and my community from generating any wealth, right? Not being able to take part in the GI bills, the land grants, the Homestead Act, right? And I mean, I could put it in a jumbotron. I'll send it to you. I didn't wrong emoji. I'll send it to you when after. A little busy, but it's repairing that, right? Closing that wealth gap, right? While the average white American family has $181,000 in wealth, and the blacks is somewhere around like 18,000 or 21,000, right? That's systemic, right? Redlining, gerrymandering, redistricting, right? That means putting those freeways through black communities, black prosperous communities, right? And that happened historically and nationwide. So it's repairing that and restoring that, right? No reason why an immigrant family should be allowed to come in and be given loans, right? And if they're deported, they're not even prosecuted or made to pay those back, right? I mean, it's repair, right?
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Channel Raw TV Bay Bay.